Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, Brazil nuts bring in an anti-trans law. First though, a British gay couple's fight to become the legal parents of their surrogate baby. Adam Frisby and his fiancée Jamie Corbett had their daughter Levin in January. She was carried by a woman in America, where they are recognised as the dads. But to get the same back home in the UK, they're made to jump through quite a few hoops.
We now have to go through a court process. Well, we have to go through an 8 to 10 month process. You have to do endless amounts of paperwork, be assessed by social workers just to make sure we're fit enough to be Levin's parents, even though we already are. We have to go to the High Court, get a parental order. So it's just a big process that really, as new parents, we shouldn't have to go through. You know, we should be recognised, especially in 2026, just like every other parent.
And the pair tell ITV's This Morning this is where they stand currently.
When a child is born by a surrogacy, the surrogate is automatically the legal mother at birth, even if they've got no biological connection. And what's actually crazy is if they're married, their partner, their husband, is the other legal parent.
They basically class her in the UK as parentless at the minute because she doesn't, under UK law, she wasn't born via what the UK law classes the right means.
But their push to change that's now going to be considered for a debate in Parliament after an official petition they started got more than 100,000 signatures. This remains active until October.
Pride Daily.
Next, a fire at a packed queer nightclub in the UK was an accident, police reckon. Pink Punters in Milton Keynes was completely destroyed just over a week ago. More than 1,000 people were inside, but no one was hurt.
Pride Daily.
And a Brazilian city's new law banning transgender women from female public bathrooms has led to protests. Adrian Lopes, the right-wing mayor of Campo Grande, says the idea is to safeguard women's rights. She's been criticised, though, for prioritising this over sorting out the city's healthcare and the state of its roads. No time to tell you that. Trans Plus History Week starts today, highlighting stories of trans, non-binary and gender-diverse people around the world. And the owner of America's National Football League's believed to have donated $1 million to queer youth suicide prevention organisation, the Trevor Project.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, Tommy Dorfman's transphobic text pest. First though, the killer of a gay man in Australia is choosing to remain in prison. At first, the 1989 death of American mathematician Scott Johnson, who fell from a cliff in Sydney, was treated as suicide, but his brother Steve wasn't having that and ultimately got the case reopened. Scott Allen White was convicted of the 27-year-old's manslaughter in 2023. He's now served his minimum 6 years of a 9-year sentence, but has withdrawn his parole application to take part in a reintegration and support program.
He's chosen to give himself more time, and so I can't say I'm upset about that. You know, if Mr. White ever sees this, I would say he took my brother's life, and I'm glad you're paying for it. Trying to become better in some way, I guess.
Steve Johnson, speaking to 9 News. The killer was 18 at the time and had a wife and children. He admitted punching Scott during an argument at North Head in Manly, which was known as a gay cruising area.
Pride Daily.
Next, a teenage boy's been charged with planning a violent attack against LGBTQ+ and Jewish people in France. The 15-year-old was arrested in the Rhône region in the southeast. Is accused of participating in a criminal association for terrorist purposes, and prosecutors say he admitted to wanting to die as a martyr.
Pride Daily.
And you know how transphobes are utterly pathetic little cowards? Well, trans actress Tommy Dorfman's been stuck next to one on a flight, but rather than say anything to her face, she could see him texting about her. The 13 Reasons Why star was referred to as an effing transsexual in the midst of going from a man to a woman, and also as a freak. She secretly filmed this and put the receipts online, says it only reaffirms the choices she's made.
Queer Family Podcast.
If you've ever felt like your family didn't fit the traditional mold, this show is for you. I'm Jamie, host of the Queer Family Podcast. And every week we highlight LGBTQIA+ families and the beautiful, unique ways we build and show up for our families. in a world that wasn't designed for us. We celebrate, highlight, uplift, and normalize queer families because our stories deserve center stage. New episodes every Monday. Listen wherever you get your pods.
Love is love on the Queer Family Podcast. Love is love. Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, Canada's queer census. First though, the mother of murdered transgender teenager Brianna Ghey has been talking about why she rarely names the killers. Esther Ghey's 16-year-old daughter was stabbed 28 times in a park in northwest England in 2023. A boy and girl aged 15 at the time were given life sentences for their premeditated attack.
I don't want the names attached to Brianna's life. I think that infamy had a part to play as well. I very, very rarely see their faces, and I see Brianna's face much more often. It's Brianna who's making a difference.
Esther Ghey speaking on the Crisis What Crisis podcast. She's now campaigning for a ban on kids using social media, calling it an absolute cesspit.
Pride Daily.
Next, a man's accused of trying to beat the gay out of a 5-year-old boy in Florida. It's claimed Andre Brown Jr. left the child badly injured, including breaking his wrist. The 33-year-old's charged with abusing 3 kids in his care, and because of the severity of what's being designated a hate crime, he's facing life in prison.
Pride Daily.
And a referendum on same-sex civil unions in the British Virgin Islands is finally going to happen. It was announced back in December 2022 and will coincide with the general election that's got to be called by the middle of July next year. The government of the Christian territory is opposed, and an official report in 2024 said a ban on same-sex marriage should be included in the constitution. No time to tell you that Canada's census is being sent out asking about sexual orientation for the first time. The only other countries that collect this information are Ecuador, New Zealand and the UK.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, an anti-queer mobile network. First though, a gay man locked up by US immigration for more than 5 months for no good reason is finally back with his husband in New York. Alan Moreira was held after showing up for a routine green card interview about permanent residency last November. Officials wrongly claimed he'd overstayed a tourist visa.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around this traumatic experience. People like myself immigrate here for safer, better, more humane lives. Instead, we are detained and treated like animals in cages for months and some even years, with bathrooms and showers in the open, slot for food, and the psychological games both the ICE and officers play.
Alan, who's originally from the Cayman Islands, was moved between multiple detention centres across America, and it's alleged while he was in custody, his prescription medication was withheld.
Pride Daily.
Next, the Vatican's criticising the devastating effects of conversion therapy. It's released a report on controversial issues that includes the experiences of 2 gay Catholic men, and we think this is a first for a Vatican publication. One of the men spoke about how conversion therapy targets the inherent dignity of people who just love others of the same gender. The report also acknowledges the Church's role in the solitude, anguish and stigma endured by queer people and their families.
Pride Daily.
And just in case you had any doubt left, the world has gone mad. There's a new Christian mobile phone network that blocks queer content by default. Good God. America's Radiant Mobile says it's creating an environment that's Jesus-centric, which means, in their words, it's void of LGBT, void of trans, and void of pornography. Some of the cash from subscriptions will be going to Christian churches.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, we're off to church. First though, new LGBTQ+ hate crime laws have been passed by the lower house of Parliament in Australia's New South Wales. There's a push to toughen up legislation so users of queer dating apps are better protected. Bedwetters are increasingly using Grindr and other platforms to lure victims to fake meetups and attacking and robbing them. Equality Australia's Heather Corkill tells SBS News the problem's going to be worse than stats suggest.
We've heard of around 64 offences in Victoria and New South Wales combined, but the data is not going to be accurate. They may not be recorded down as a hate crime.
Plus, if this is approved by the Upper House, publicly threatening or inciting violence against LGBTQ plus people will have a maximum 7-year prison term.
Pride Daily.
Next, a teacher's been jailed for talking about homosexuality in her lessons at a French religious school in Morocco. She's got 18 months for insulting Islam and indecency through obscene acts involving minors. Plus, there's a fine of $1 million dirhams, about $108,000. The woman, who denies discussing the subject with 2 boys in Kenitra, has also been ordered to have psychological treatment. Homosexuality is illegal in Morocco, but you've probably worked that out already.
Pride Daily.
And this year's UK Black Pride has been cancelled. It would have marked the event's 21st anniversary in August, but organisers are taking a strategic pause ahead of what they say will be a landmark return next year. More than 25,000 people turned out for the last one, the biggest attendance ever. No time to tell you that prayer vigils are being held at churches across Europe against homophobia, biphobia and transphobia. They're taking place until the end of June in the likes of Italy, Poland, Sweden and Ireland. There's more on our socials at Pride Daily Pod, including any breaking news. We're on all the main platforms, including Telegram now. That's your lot. I'll see you next week.